Hola, mi gente. There are so many impactful stories in the queer community. Some stories explore strength and resilience when obstacles stand in their way. Others showcase authentic self-expression and pride. As artists, we use these stories to change the world, even just a little bit. So in honor of Pride Month, we sat down with 4 queer Latina storytellers who use their artistry to tell the story of their cultura, their art, and their identity to heal and inspire others. My name is Zasha Santiago, and this is Latino Alternative Storytellers, Pride Edition. Makeup has the power to make people feel beautiful, confident, and ready to conquer the world. For Angel Merino, that feeling led him to create a brand dedicated to making high-quality products accessible to everyone. This is Angel's story.
My name is Angel Merino, also known as Mac Daddy on my social media platforms. I currently live in Los Angeles, but I grew up in Riverside, California, all over the IE. Shout out to my IE babies. Grew up with 2 parents from El Salvador that migrated here when they were young teens. Storytelling to me means being able to convey thoughts, emotions, feelings, being able to really take someone somewhere through a journey, essentially. I think storytelling is a journey. So I remember buying like my first compact, my first makeup powder, and I hid it from my mom. I did not want her to know, and I would put it on at work. I would go to work, I would put it on, and then once I would leave work, I would take it off, and that's kind of how it slowly started to happen until I started to feel a little bit more and more confident. Then I started wearing it to school, then I started wearing it around my mom, and it really gave me the confidence to really show up as myself every single day. So I started my career as a makeup artist working behind the counter at different department stores for different makeup brands. And one of my coworkers said, hey, you should download this app called Instagram. And at first I just kind of thought it was something that I would use for cool filters, but I had no clue that it would literally be the brink of my career and what was gonna catapult me to eventually start my own business and have my own brand. So I really started to identify the things that I felt were missing in terms of product, and I had this amazing platform on social media that was very much looking to me as an expert, as a professional. I felt like I had a lot of resources, a lot of access to different things, and I said, you know what? I want to create a brand, I want to create products, I want to fill the void that I feel is missing, and I want to be able to create something more tangible that I can share with my audience that's essentially an extension of me and my love and my passion for makeup, and that's where the idea of creating my own brand started. I'm all about really great quality ingredients, high-performing formulas, and quality packaging, and doing it in a way where it's accessible. If I had to literally close my eyes and imagine who my products and my brand is for, I think about my cousins that I grew up with, my cousins that I, saw applying their makeup when I was really young, when they were getting ready to go to school. I always say my mom, and she would go home and put on her makeup and get ready to go out with her girlfriends. And I think about those women, those strong women that wanted to feel beautiful and have that sense of confidence, that were fearless, that wanted to go out and live life and have fun. And that's who I think our products are for. I want my story to be remembered as someone that lived fearlessly, someone that lived authentically, someone that created community. I think that's been one of the biggest things for me in my career with my brand. If there's anything that I wish to do is to inspire people to build community, to be there for one another, to look out for each other, to live life authentically and fearlessly as well.
That was such a powerful story. With enough passion, you can carve out your own path. We'll be right back with more Storytellers. is a huge part of our heritage that our ancestors gave to us, and we honor them with each and every plate that we share with our loved ones. For more than 20 years, Chef Eddie Garza has been a trailblazer in the kitchen, crafting healthier, vegan alternatives for traditional cultural dishes. Here's the story of a chef who transformed Mexican cuisine.
My name is Eddie Garza. I'm from Brownsville, Texas, in the southern tip of Texas on the Mexican border. And I don't know what else to say other than I'm a chef. I'm a lover of food. I'm a lover of the arts. And something I've always been inspired by is just experiences, people, travel. And I'm always inspired every time I come back from another trip. It started with my grandma and her stories, and I wouldn't know anything about my kitchen, about my cuisine, if it wasn't for my grandma and her stories. I honestly think that my queerdom started in the kitchen because I used the kitchen as a hiding place. I didn't want to go out and play with the kids, play football, play baseball. My brother was into all that stuff. I knew when I was a child that I was different. I was the kid that looked like Punky Brewster with 2 different colored Converse, and I unapologetically would dance and do the talent show, and yeah, I would play the Cyndi Lauper part. I didn't care. Like, I had to be who I was. But prior to that, I did use that kitchen as a hiding place. Like, I didn't want to go outside. I wanted to be inside with my grandma. And to be inside with my grandma meant I had to cook. So like from the time I was a kid, I was cooking. I was making tamales before most people were even like able to read and write. I truly think that that kitchen was the place where I really honed my queerdom and owned it, and I'm proud of it. Growing up in South Texas, it's very common for people to eat really unhealthy food, which is what I did, and I loved it. I mean, it's delicious food, right? And growing up in the border, you get the best of Mexico and you get the best of the US, or maybe the worst of, who knows, right? But it's junk food and junk food, and when you eat too much of it, you grow to be really unhealthy, and I did. When I was 21 years old, I reached a maximum weight of 310 pounds, and it was a time that I was struggling emotionally, physically, and I think I was just ready to receive a message at that moment. I met this friend who was a new teacher who saw me and could see that this guy needs help. She said to me that I needed to go with her to this program to learn how to eat better, and I was so embarrassed that she said it, but I knew that I needed to lose weight. So I joined her that weekend. It was a one weekend thing that changed my entire perspective of food. I learned that all the things that I was eating were like the worst foods that you could eat. And I learned during that one weekend that I had to start making some changes. I went through the program for about 12 weeks before I realized that the stuff that was making me feel better and helping me to lose weight were all the things that were plant forward. So vegetables and fruits, anything that wasn't highly processed meats, those types of things were better for me. And then I started slowly adding more vegetables and fruits and cutting back on meat, cutting back on dairy, cutting back on all the unhealthy foods that I had been eating so much of. I remember when I first went vegan and I went back home, my mom didn't know what to do. It was Thanksgiving. She's like, what do vegans eat? She served me an apple quartered on a plate. I laughed because, I mean, it's just funny. Like, that's what most people thought of back 21 years ago, or even longer than that, because, you know, I've been vegan for 21 years. So when I was just starting that transition, they didn't know what to do. So I really wanted to do this as a way to show people it's simple swaps. Instead of chicken broth, you can use vegetable broth. Instead of lard, you can use olive oil to make those same tamales. And there are so many different simple swap outs, and that was really the purpose, that why I wanted to start with Mexican food. And one of the reasons that I really started doing this is to show people that they can eat the foods that we grew up on, but in a healthier way. My food is for everybody. My food is for anybody who likes to eat food with flavor. So when you taste my food, it's a flavor explosion. I've evolved so much since my first book. That was 8 years ago that I wrote that first book. Now, I'm using that as a way to kind of help me select where I want to go next, what I want to do next. So my story's not over. It's only beginning, actually.
I I'm now starving. Thank you so much, Eddie Garza, for your art and delicious, innovative recipes. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Storytellers. In the world of fashion, people use their style to express who they are, how they feel. It might just be the most direct way to tell your story every day, at least for me. Chicana fashion designer Alejandra Jimenez designs pieces that reimagine her ancestral vaquera roots right here in California. For her, Chicana culture is more than just an identity, it's a way of life. Here's her story and more about her brand, Morena Mia.
My name's Alejandra Jimenez. I go by Aleja, and I am a first-gen Chicana that was raised and is now based in Riverside, California, and I am a fashion designer. I think storytelling is the ability to call on memory, not just memory of our lives, but the memory of our ancestors, and to be able to pull all of these narratives that come in patterns, that come in feeling, that come in various mediums, and to be able to, in a sense, project them into real life or manifest them into reality. One of the most prevalent parts of my identity is definitely my cultural upbringing. My parents came here from Zacatecas and from Guadalajara, Jalisco, and they migrated here when they were teenagers. They were raised in Santa Ana, so they definitely are a more modern type of Mexican, parent, especially because they had me when they were teenagers. My parents were both under 18 when they had me, and we were again brought up in Orange County, Santa Ana area, where we had and were exposed to a lot of street culture. But my parents, no matter where they traveled, no matter how far from home they were very, very proud of their roots, and I think tried to hold on to aspects of their bringing, the nostalgic parts of it, through their fashion. And that very much shaped the way that I saw fashion and the passion that I had for it. I very much grew up with narratives of, hey, we made a lot of sacrifices for us to be here. I need you to go and find yourself a stable and secure job. And the arts are not an option. So it sort of really withdrew any possibility of me pursuing that type of career. I realized that I had been living my life, as many first-gen daughters do, people-pleasing, and doing what is expected of us because we have to be good Mexican daughters. So I took a step back, and for the first time in my life, I looked back and said, what have I enjoyed doing? What do I actually love doing? What comes to me with ease? It started off as this little seed deep inside of me that kept telling me, pursue fashion, do something with fashion. Everybody's always told you you're really good at fashion, and you don't even really have to try. It just comes naturally. It became this idea that was like, okay, I want to do a fashion brand. I want to have a fashion brand, but I don't want to just be another brand. I want to establish like a lifestyle brand. I want to establish a brand that has something to say, that's not just clothing. So it was really hard to start and move forward with that because I had very strict values up front. I want it to be sustainable, I want it to be slow fashion, I want it to be inclusive, and I want it to represent my people. Coming out as queer in a Latina, specifically Mexican household was very tough. It was very hard. My parents were not supportive in the beginning. They were not accepting in the beginning. I came out when I was 13 years old. And when I came out, it was a very chaotic and dramatic. I think it's something that is penetrated in our culture. Maybe we watch too many telenovelas. I'm not sure what it is. But the reaction was very soap opera. It took me a long time to sort of accept myself and accept not just who I was, but who I wanted to love, who I wanted to be around. I realized that At the end of the day, I have to learn to live with myself because we're such a close-knit family. And while I love that, I was willing to let it go. And I had that very serious conversation with my parents, and I said, you will either love me as I am, or you will not see me at all. When I did that, I feel like it expanded my creativity as well. Because now I could, without any hesitation or restrictions, things of that sort, I could pursue what I thought was, art. I want Morena Mia to be remembered as more than fashion. I want it to be remembered as the fusion of political advocacy, bold style, bold wear, and obviously cultural identity, a celebration of cultural identity.
I need to add so many more things to my wardrobe now. I bet you're thinking the same thing. So check out her brand, Morena Mia, and we'll be right back. Dance is a performing art that explores expressive storytelling through movement. I'm not the best dancer, but for the Latino community, dancing is a huge part of our identity. Choreographer Rudy Garcia comes from a family of artists who inspire him to pursue his passion in dance and turn it into a career. Here's more of his story.
Hi, my name is Rudy Garcia. I am from Miami, Florida, currently live in Los Angeles, California. I am Latino. My family is from Cuba and El Salvador, and I am a dancer and choreographer. Through my movement, I can tell you how I feel, and that's my storytelling. So if I'm sad and I just put on a Sam Smith song or something like Adele, something very like moody and mellow, I can get into it and show you how I'm feeling and express myself through my movement. And same thing goes with like when I'm happy, when I'm in love, when I'm feeling feisty, like all my emotions, I storytell and I let the viewer know how I'm feeling through my dance. I feel like being a male dancer, you do have to be a little bit macho, a little bit masculine, and things are shifting little by little, but I think there's still a big chunk of it that you have to be a certain way. You have to have a six-pack. You have to dance very strong. You have to be this man on stage, because if you think about it, artists like Jennifer Lopez, Britney Spears, all these people, they have these men on stage with them, which is totally cool. But I think that's why it took me so long to realize, not to realize, but to say that I was gay and to be okay with my dancing, which was a little bit more feminine, a little bit more fluid, because I was like, oh, if I don't dance this way and act this way, I'm not gonna get a job. There was definitely a switch when I came out, and I don't think it was necessarily the way I choreographed, it was my outlook on life and my thought process. To be honest, I kind of was like, I don't care what anyone says or thinks about me type of thing, because I already came out to my family and it was like everyone welcomed me with big arms and they loved me for who I was. I was like, why should I care what anyone else thinks then? Like, these random people that I don't know of, like, are gonna judge me and I'm gonna care? No. So then I was kind of like, okay, I know who I am as a dancer, as a human being, as an artist. Why not show everyone that? And maybe some people will like it, maybe some won't, but that's okay. Like, that's how life is. Like, not everyone's gonna like you, not everyone's gonna like your work. So you just have to keep it pushing, be true to yourself, and like, at the end of the day, an artist and a team and a production will like who you are, will kind of mesh with you, and then, you know, it's just gonna flourish from there. Working with my dancers, I will say I am crazy. I am full out, I'm hands-on, I'm loud, I'm in it. Like, when I'm teaching, I become like a different person. Like, something in my brain clicks, and then I'm just like, it's go time. My energy goes towards teaching, whether that's in a rehearsal atmosphere or in a classroom atmosphere. I just want everyone to remember how I made them feel. I want everyone to remember why they love dance, and I want them to take away something from my teaching. Whether it's like a little note that's gonna get them through an audition, whether it's a life note that is gonna like trigger something and be like, oh, I need to be a better human being. I feel like dancers and artists separate life and dance, and they're the same thing. Like, when you're walking in the mall, you're gonna cross paths like this, right? You're not gonna crash into each other. So that's why there's lines and windows and formations. If you think about it, when you see babies listen to music and you see them dance, aren't they so happy? They just jump around and they're like, hey, yeah, oh my God. They're just living in it and they're pure. And I think that in our industry, that gets lost really fast because people are like, oh, we have to get the job done. Oh, or they're jaded or whatever the case may be. And I'm like, I don't like that. Like, I want people to remember why they love dance and remember why they do it, whether they're a dancer or not. Like, I just want them to be happy and leave feeling good.
Okay, Rudy, I see you. I think I want to try some of that myself, not on camera. I want to say a big thank you to all of our featured artists today. All of these stories inspire us to go after our dreams, live authentically, and be unapologetically us. Make sure you check out all of our storyteller content on our website, LATV.com, where we also have exclusive editorial content. Feliz Pride. Ciao.